It started with the sound of dripping. Not rain, not yet. Just the slow, rhythmic drip. Drip, quip, echoing from somewhere inside the house. I was frozen at the top of the stairs, every hair on my body standing on end. The lights had gone, out 5 minutes ago. I hadn't moved since. Then I saw it. Something moved at the bottom of the staircase, just a flicker in the dark, shifting shadow where no shadow should be. My phone screen lit up in my hand, the emergency flashlight flickering wildly, and that's when I heard it. A voice behind me, whispering, but when I spun around, no one was there. Just the pitch black of the hallway and the sound of the wind, picking up outside, and the rain began. Sudden, violent, like it had been waiting for a signal. The windows rattled. The house creaked, and from the dark stairwell below, I heard footsteps. Slow, getting louder. My heart slammed into my ribs as I backed away, legs trembling, phone trembling, until I saw it again. This time, closer, climbing, step by step. And it knew I was alone. It knew I couldn't leave. Not yet. I live alone. Always have. It's not that I hate people. I'll just find it easier this way. Less noise, less chaos, fewer expectations. Work from home as a freelance editor, so most days are spent hunched over my laptop, headphones in, silence all around. That night was supposed to be like any other. Just me, a frozen pizza, and a backlog of client revisions. The forecast had warned of heavy rain, but I didn't pay it much mind. Storms are common around here. The house, old as it is, creaks in. A bit when it pours, but I've grown used to it. The noises are part of the charm, at least. That's what I used to think. It was a Thursday. I remember because my editor sent an email at exactly 4:32 p.m., reminding me about a deadline I'd already met. Typical, I rolled my eyes, set my phone down, and walked to the kitchen to preheat the oven. As I passed the living room window, I paused. Something felt off. The sky was too dark for the time. It wasn't even 5 p.m., yet everything outside looked dipped in tar. The wind was picking up, bending the tree branches against each other like bones grinding together. I turned on the oven. The heating coils hummed to life with a faint orange glow. I grabbed the pizza from the freezer and tossed it onto a baking tray. That's when I noticed the photo frame. It was lying face down on the counter, small square. Picture of my parents and me, taken when I was 5. I keep it in the corner near the spice rack, always. I never touch it. I picked it up, frowning. The glass was uncracked. No sign of it having fallen or been knocked over. Still, I set it back in place and chalked it up to vibrations. Maybe I slammed a cupboard too hard earlier. Maybe the first. Raindrops began to fall just as I slid the pizza into the oven. Big, slow drops that smacked against the window like thrown pebbles. I pulled the curtains closed and turned on the radio, just static. I switched the station. More static. That was odd. I turned it off. Back at my desk, I tried to refocus on work. Red lines of track changes blinked angrily from the screen, but I couldn't seem to concentrate. My mind kept drifting. That feeling hadn't gone away, the one from earlier, like something was watching me, not in a paranoid, someone's outside kind of way. No, it felt internal, like the house itself had taken notice of me. I laughed at the thought, out loud. It sounded hollow in the empty room. Still, I found myself glancing over my shoulder more than once. The pizza timer went off. I jumped. In the kitchen, the oven light flickered as I opened the door. The pizza smelled normal. Cheese bubbling, crust golden. I cut a slice and sat. On the couch, TV on, but muted. The storm was in full swing now. Rain lashed at the windows in thick, angry sheets. Wind howled down the chimney like a wounded animal. That's when I noticed the basement door. It was open, just slightly. I hadn't opened it. I never did. There's nothing down there but storage and old furniture draped in sheets. I stood up, plate in hand, and walked to it slowly. The door didn't move. No creak. No gust of air. Just that narrow sliver of darkness yawning open at the foot of the hallway. I closed it. Firmly locked it. still holding my half-eaten pizza. I made my way back to the couch and tried to ignore the cold sensation crawling across my back. By 10 p.m., I gave up on editing. My eyes burned. I needed sleep. As I passed the hallway again, I paused. The basement door was still shut. Good! I climbed the stairs slowly, deliberately not looking at the mirror on the landing. It's an old antique thing oval, cracked in one corner. I've always hated it, though I've never known why. In bed, I left the door open. I never used to do that, but tonight I needed to be able to hear something, anything. Rain hammered. The roof, the occasional clap of thunder rattled the windows. And just as I was about to drift off drip, I sat up. Rip. It was coming from inside the house, not the roof, not outside. I got up. Bare feet on cold wood, heart ticking faster now. I followed the sound to the bathroom. The faucet was on, just slightly. I never leave the faucet on. I turned it off. Stared into the mirror for a moment, expecting to see what? I don't know. My reflection looked pale, tired, but the background, something looked wrong. I blinked. It was normal again. Back in bed, I pulled the blankets up to my chin and stared at the ceiling. Every gust of wind felt like it was pushing the house, closer to collapse. Every creak and groan of the beams sounded like footsteps overhead, but no one else was here. I was sure of that, wasn't I? Sleep came slowly, fitfully. Dreams blurred together. Black water, open doors, eyes in the walls. I woke with a start sometime past 3 a.m., rain still, thunder, and a sound from downstairs. A click. The sound of a door unlocking. I held my breath, straining to hear more. Nothing. No footsteps. No voices. Just the wind, and my pulse screaming in my ears. I told myself it was the storm, or my imagination, maybe both. But part of me knew something wasn't right. And whatever it was, it had already gotten inside. First major scare. The horror is felt, but remains unseen. Slow burn, tension rising. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined someone standing at the foot of the bed, just beyond the dark. Waiting. The storm didn't let up. It only got worse. The kind of rain that makes the entire world feel submerged. Like the sky cracked open and poured itself out. I stayed in bed until the sun came up pour, at least until the light returned, filtered gray and sickly through the storm clouds. Morning, I was exhausted. I felt like I hadn't slept in days. My limbs were heavy, my skin cold, but I got up anyway. I needed coffee. I needed light. I needed something to pull me back into the normal. The house was quiet. Too quiet. It was holding its breath. In the kitchen, I flipped the switch. The light stuttered, then hummed to life. I checked the basement door. Still locked. Good. The coffee maker gurgled like something dying. I stood by the window, watching the rain blur the trees into watercolor shapes. Everything felt distant, unreachable. Then I noticed something odd. There were footprints on the floor. Wet ones, leading from the back door. Toward the stairs. I froze. They were faint, but real. The kind of partial prints bare feet make on a wet tile floor. One after another. But I hadn't gone outside. I hadn't opened the door. I followed them with my eyes. They disappeared near. The stairs, like whoever made them, just stopped walking. I checked the back door, locked, deadbolt still in place. No signs of forced entry. I backed away slowly, heart thumping against my ribs. My breathing sounded too loud in the still air. No one was here. No one could be. Still, I found myself creeping up the stairs like I was the intruder in my own home. Each step groaned beneath my weight. At the top, I turned left and checked every room. Bedroom, bathroom, spare room, closet, nothing. No one. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I must have tracked the water in myself, even if I didn't. Remember doing it. That maybe I was more tired than I realized. Still, I didn't feel safe. The air in the house had changed. It felt watched. Round noon, the power flickered. Just once, the lights dimmed for a second before snapping back. I thought little. Of it told wiring and storms don't mix. But a few minutes later, my phone vibrated. A notification. Motion detected. Living room. I stared at it. I didn't own a security camera. I hadn't installed anything. Yet there it was. A thumbnail. A grainy, black and white image of my living room taken from the corner near the ceiling. As if a camera had been mounted there. The image was empty. Just furniture and shadows. I clicked it. The app opened, but there was no live feed. Just a playback option. My fingers shook as I hit play. The clip was only 4 seconds long. The first 2 were static. Then the shadows shifted. It's not dramatically, just slightly. Like someone had walked past the camera, or like the shadows had breathed. I slammed the app shut. I searched the living room for any device, any sign of a camera. Nothing. I tore through the drawers, behind the shelves, even lifted the couch cushions. Nothing. And then, another notification. Motion detected, basement. My blood turned to ice. I didn't open it. I couldn't. I sat on the couch, gripping my phone like it might explode. The rain beat harder against the windows. A branch scraped across the glass. A screech like nails on a chalkboard. I had to leave. That was my first real thought. My instinct. Flight, just go. Grab a coat, run to the car, drive anywhere. Stood. That's when I heard the music. Faint, from upstairs. A music box melody, soft, warped, out of tune. But I didn't own a music box. Movement. Then slowly, someone came into frame. Not walking, crawling. Pale arms, fingers too long. A head that twitched when it turned, like it wasn't meant to move that way. It reached for the steps, and then the feed cut. I turned off. The TV, I checked the basement door, still locked. I pushed a chair against it. That night I heard whispers. They didn't come from one direction. They were everywhere. Inside the walls. Beneath the floorboards. Soft, repeating. My name. Come see. Come see. Come see. I covered my ears, but the whispers moved inside my head. I told myself I was dreaming. I had to. I rushed into the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. When I looked up, there were hands on the mirror. Prints. Dozens of them. Small, childlike. Pressed against the glass from the inside. They began to fade as I watched. Slowly. Dissolving into steam, I backed out of the bathroom, slammed the door. Went to the bedroom and locked myself in. That's when I saw the note. A piece of paper slid halfway under the door. My name on the front. No handwriting I recognized, just black block letters. Inside it read, "One must stay, one must open." The door, I stared at it for what felt like hours. Who wrote this? What door? And then it hit me. The basement. I felt something shift behind the walls. Like the house reacted to my realization, the power went out. Darkness fell like a trap. I lit a candle. My hands trembled as I moved through the house. Each flicker of flame through shadows that didn't match my movements. In the hallway, the mirror on the landing was uncovered. I hadn't touched it. It was supposed to have a curtain over an old linen cloth that had always hung there since I moved in. Superstition, maybe, but comforting. Now it was bare, and in the reflection, I wasn't alone. Behind me, standing halfway up the stairs, was a shape, tall, still, featureless, but when I turned, nothing. I turned back to the mirror. Still there. Closer, I ran. I didn't even realize I was crying until I reached the front door and found my hand on the knob. I turned it, pulled. It wouldn't open. Not locked. Frozen, like it had become part of the wall. No way out. I pounded on it. Screamed. The house absorbed the sound. Like it didn't want the outside to know. I collapsed to the floor. And that's when I saw the footprints again, wet. Leading up the stairs this time, I followed them. slowly, each one perfect. Like whoever left them had no weight. At the top, the door to the spare room was open again. Inside, the music box sat on the windowsill, playing on its own. No key, no winding. The ballerina spun slowly, and behind her, written into the fog, on the glass were 4 words. Don't let it out. The box stopped, and something knocked from inside the closet. 3 slow knocks. I didn't move. Couldn't. Then the door creaked open just an inch. I ran, back downstairs. Straight into the kitchen where the lights flickered back on. The oven timer beeped, but I hadn't cooked anything. Inside the oven, glowing red, was the photo frame. Melted, warped, and inside it now was a picture of the front of the house. Taken from across the street, I backed away, tripped, fell. When I looked up, something was standing at the bottom of the stairs, not moving, not breathing, just watching. Gone. But in its place, another note, folded neat. This one. Read, it's almost time. Choose. Stay or open the door. I didn't understand. Choose what? I hadn't invited this. I hadn't done anything. Had I? My memory started to feel fractured, like I had been here before, like I had always been here. And then my phone buzzed. One last time, another notification. Camera, offline. You. No. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew. I wasn't the one watching anymore. Something else was. Entity confirmed. Protagonist trapped. Loop storytelling begins. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Not with the house breathing. Not with the walls twitching like muscle under skin. I sat on the living room floor, candlelight flickering, listening to it move behind the plaster. I could. Hear it now. No more whispers. No more creaks. Something was crawling, slow, deliberate, like it wanted me to know it was there. The note was still in my hand. Stay or open the door. A choice. But what door? The basement, I thought. But I was wrong. There was another door. I found it in the attic. I don't know why I went up there. Just a pull, a compulsion. The stairs groaned under my feet, each one louder than the last, like the house was announcing my arrival. The attic was cold. Wrong. It felt too wide inside, bigger than the house should allow. The kind of space that stretches when you look away, and at the far end. A door, small, child-sized, painted the same color as the walls meant to be. Hidden, but now it pulsed slightly at the edges, like it was alive. There was no handle, but the wood was warm to the touch. I leaned close and heard it. A heartbeat. Not mine. Something was behind it, waiting. I staggered back, suddenly nauseous. The air felt thinner up here. That's when I heard the footsteps. Downstairs fast. Bare. Running, I turned, rushed down from the attic, heart hammering, candle gripped like a weapon. But when I reached the second floor, nothing. Silence. Except the bathroom door was open. And inside, the mirror was black, not reflective. Just dark. Like a window into nothing. I stepped inside. My reflection didn't follow. It just stood at the edge, watching, tilting its head, and it smiled. I ran. Back to the first floor, tripping, nearly falling down the stairs. In the kitchen, all the drawers were open. Cabinets too. Knives gone. The music box. A photo of me as a child, one I'd never seen before. A key. Old. Iron. Another note beside them. Choose what you lost? I didn't understand, but I picked up the key. And the floor shuddered, like something beneath it woke up. The basement door creaked open. On its own? No lock, no resistance, just dark. I don't know why I went down. I think I had to. The stairs stretched longer than they should. Each step down was like a memory. Peeling off my mind, by the time I reached the bottom, I felt light, hollow, like I wasn't me anymore. The basement was colder than outside. Wet. The walls bled condensation. And at the far end, a mirror, standing tall, cracked, covered in dust, but the reflection wasn't mine. And behind that me a shape. Not human, no face, just a head that bent unnaturally to the side, arms that dragged behind it. It raised a hand and pointed at me. Suddenly, the walls pulsed, the basement contracted. I heard the sound of wet. Feet running, I turned. Something rushed past in the dark. Fast. I only saw the outline, a smear of motion, and the voice, "You let it out." Everything snapped. I screamed. I ran up the stairs. But they kept going, up and up and up, an infinite loop. Each door I passed was the same hallway, the same light bulb flickering overhead. No way out. Then a mirror, standing in the middle of the hallway. And through it I saw the living room, my living room and me, sitting on the couch. Staring at the TV, blank expression, unmoving. I reached out to the glass, and it was soft like water. I stepped through. Suddenly I was back in the living room. Candle flickering beside me. TV off. Had I fallen asleep? Was it a dream? No. The note was still in my hand. "You chose the key." I looked up. The basement door was wide open from the darkness below. The sound of someone crawling up. I didn't move. I couldn't. Then a hand gripped the doorframe. Fingers too long, skin gray, nails blackened and cracked. Then another. Slowly it pulled itself into the light. Not a person, not a ghost. Something in between. A mimic. It had my face, but stretched, like it had only seen a picture of me and tried to sculpt it in flesh. It grinned, lips tearing at the corners, and said in my voice, "You're finally home." The protagonist makes a final, desperate attempt to escape. Shocking and unexpected twist is revealed. Their worst fear comes true. I ran, not toward the door, not toward safety. I knew by now it wouldn't matter. The house was no longer just a house. It was aware. The thing wearing my face dragged itself fully out of the basement and stood there, impossibly tall in the hallway. Bones cracked as it adjusted its stolen smile. I sprinted for the attic. The other door. Whatever it was, it had always been calling me. I felt it now like a thread yanking at my core, pulling me upward. The attic warped around me, stretched. The ceiling bowed as though under great pressure. The floor creaked before I stepped. I reached the door, the child-sized one hidden in the wall. The key in my pocket was warm now, almost burning. I jammed it into the lock. It didn't turn. I tried again. And the thing below started climbing. I could hear it. A wet slap of hands. On stairs, the giggling. My own voice repeated in broken phrases. "Come inside. Home is waiting. You brought me." I slammed my fist into the door. The key clicked, and it opened. Blackness inside. Not just dark. A total absence. Instant silence. Then light. A room. Familiar. My childhood bedroom. Old posters on the walls. The dinosaur nightlight. Even the stuffed dog I'd lost when I was 7. Everything exactly the same. I turned slowly. And on the bed me. "Hey?" Younger version, curled up, crying silently. I stepped closer. He looked up, eyes red, face pale. He whispered, "You left me here." I backed away. The room pulsed. The walls cracked. Behind me, something began to push through the doorway. That thing. The mimic. Only now, it wasn't just wearing my face. It wore all of them. Every version of me, childhood, teenage, adult, fused, screaming in unison. It wasn't here to kill me. It was here to become me. And I had brought it, let it in. All those years of pretending, hiding trauma, repressing fear. This wasn't a haunting. It was a return. The door behind me slammed. I was trapped. The younger me on the bed stood up, his face twisted into that grin. He whispered, "One must stay." The mimic lunged. I threw myself across the room, rolled under the bed. It reached arms, stretching, bones cracking as they extended. I scrambled out the other side and grabbed the only object within reach. The nightlight flickering faintly. I yanked it from the wall. The room screamed. Light hit its skin, and it smoked, peeled. It shrieked in every version of my voice. I didn't stop. I ran toward it. Nightlight first. Jammed it into its chest. It imploded. Silent. Instant. Gone. The room cracked. Walls tore away into darkness. I fell down through the floor, through memories, flashes of myself in every mirror I'd ever passed, every lie I'd ever told myself, every fear I'd buried, and then I was back. Sitting in the living room, candle flickering beside me, TV off, same as before. Had I done it? The house was quiet. No footsteps, no whispers, just stillness. I stood, walked slowly to the mirror in the hall. This time, my reflection matched. I smiled in relief. Then the reflection blinked, but I didn't. It smirked and walked away. Without me, I couldn't move. My hands weren't responding. Then knock, knock, knock. Basement door. Open. A voice, low and gentle. You stayed. Now I'll go. I screamed, but no sound came out. Only a smile. I watched, trapped, as the thing that used to be me left the house. Loop storytelling completes. Ending mirrors the beginning. One last mystery remains unresolved. Rain still falling. Harder now. I watch it through the window, unmoving. Trapped, not in the house. In me, or what's left of me. The mimic walks in my skin now. Living my life, laughing with my friends, sleeping in my bed. No one knows it's not me, because it is. It learned enough. It remembered what I forgot. I feel it all, the footsteps it takes, the words it says. I'm here, just buried, screaming. Behind the smile. Sometimes late at night I see through its eyes. I see the house again. Still standing, still watching, waiting for the next one. Yeah. Because it always needs someone to stay and someone to go. I've lost count of how many times the loop has started again. Each time someone new moves in, alone. On a rainy night, time, it starts the same way. A whisper, a footstep, a door slightly ajar. Each time, the choice is given, stay. Or open the door. They always think they can choose. They always think it's just a house, but it's not. It's memory. It's regret. It's what you buried too deep to see until it stares back through the mirror with your face. I'm not the first. And I won't be the last, because I remember. Now, the first time I heard the knock on the door, I opened it, thinking I was letting something in. But I wasn't. I was letting something out. And now, it's you watching this. You heard it, didn't you? That creak in your hallway. Flicker in the mirror behind you. That soft whisper under your breath that didn't come from you. You think this is just a story? But stories, remember, they wait, they spread, like mold in the corners of your memory. Like water soaking into wood, until the day you're home alone, and it's raining. Knock, knock, knock.